Andrea Fairweather is the founder of Fairweather Faces and a pioneer in the mobile beauty business. She's worked her makeup and beauty magic in multiple entertainment genres, including television, music videos, dance, film, and commercials. Fairweather Faces is home to the most coveted celebrity brushes used by leading ladies in Hollywood, and Andrea Fairweather is the woman behind the flawless faces of some of the most beautiful women on television. She's a trusted makeup artist to people like Diane Sawyer, Deborah Norville, Ashley Tisdale, Vanessa Hudgens, Kira Sedgwick, and more. She also works with leading men and musicians such as Ben Affleck, Jude Law, Usher, John Mayer, and Sean Combs. Andrea's work can be seen in just a few places like Aspire, Disney, Disney Junior, The Insider, Entertainment Tonight, Good Morning America, 2020, Nightline, Nickelodeon, Law & Order, The History Channel, CNN, ESPN, VH1, and BAT, just to name a few. Her advice has graced the pages of O Magazine, People Magazine, Real Simple, Allure, The New York Times, and many more top national publications. She knows that time and money are two of the biggest factors when it comes to a woman's beauty routine, and that women have special cosmetic needs that are often overlooked. She created Fairweather Faces' revolutionary and patented color-coded beauty makeup system to help women sort through the clutter and learn the tricks of the trade that she applies every day. Everyone deserves the luxury of a professional makeup artist, and now women can apply flawless makeup in just a few simple steps.
My journey started from a child. I was always fascinated with colors. And so I was blessed to have an art teacher, Miss Kendora, from about second, third grade that kind of pegged that, maybe Andrea has something that can be developed here. So unbeknownst to me, she used to enter me in art contests and I would win. Either I was first or second place. And not having the life experience to know that the best way to do it is really to tap into your gifts and turn that into your passion, which then turns into your career. I just kind of moved by spirit, really truly always through prayer, like just always asking what should my next thing be. And then one day, and my mom was on me for quite some time, and when I say that, I mean like a good 5 years of my formative years, asking me would I like to dance, and I kept saying no. But then one day, and I remember it was a rainy Saturday, I was sitting in my parents' bedroom watching television, and the movie Fame came on, and Spirit said just read the credits at the end, and I did, and it said dedicated to the students from the high school, New York City's High School for the Performing Arts, and I was like, wow, is that real? Because if it is, I want to go there. Right. And so when my parents came home, I made this big announcement. Guess what? They're like, what? I want to dance. What? I know. And so literally that was at the age of 12. Wow. And I had literally 1 year to get it together before the big audition. And I did. My parents got behind me and put me in dance class, and Spirit got me to the right person to say, if you're really serious about this, you need to go to Alvin Ailey. I did. I buckled down. I went, and then I did. I got in, which was insane because that audition was about 10,000 students whittled down to 400. Wow. Which was crazy. So that really spurred me on that for those type of odds. Okay, if I get a vision, then I should push for it. And then from dance, I ended up getting injured in college, a really bad fall. Mm-hmm. But at the same time that I felt like my spirit was breaking because I was so linear in my thinking that, you'll make it as a dancer, you'll make it as an actress. I really thought that I would have a career somewhat similar to like a Debbie Allen, this well-rounded, artistic in front of the camera career. Right. All along, I was always doing makeup for headshots, performances, friends. And so one day while on crutches, Spirit moved me again and said, why don't you take a business management course, which was completely crazy because that was not within my curriculum. I went to a performing arts conservatory. SUNY purchase, and it didn't make sense for me to do that. But it just stayed on me, and I was like, okay, I'll just take this class. And lo and behold, at the end of the course, the professor said, why don't you all create a business plan that has never been a presentation, at least, or a concept that has never been done before in business? And I kind of flippantly went up there, and it was really like a no-brainer. I said, well, what if, there was this business that, traveled to you, and, you have these artists that will provide makeup, hair, nails, and massage therapy on site. It could be wherever you want it, in a hotel, office, wedding, photo shoot. That's it. And then I sat down, and she came up to me and said, listen, Andrea, if you can make that happen, you will be a genius. And it literally it stayed in my mind. But Michael and Eddie, there was no blueprint for me to follow, because it was only salon-based services to get beauty services. So I literally in 1997 flipped it around on its head.
Wow.
It took a good 5 to 7 years of prayer and vision, because like I said, I didn't have anything to base it off of. It was just a thought of something that could be. But then once I just started doing it and going to clients' homes and their office, and it made sense, then it started to snowball. So lo and behold, that's how Fairweather Faces Traveling Beauty Services started, and how it really opened up my career as a celebrity makeup artist and entrepreneur. So that's basically it in a nutshell.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
That's exactly right. I find that, especially with me, I'm the type of person that things come really strong in dreams and through prayer. But if it stays on me and I'm ignoring it, then I'm the type that will live in frustration. And that's just not a good place for me to be in. It's not good for me, and it's not good for those around me. So I've always been really successful when prayer first, then come the dreams, then come the execution of just being quiet and let it work itself out. Because the universe will send you those messages of what to do next. That's always worked for me. If I deviate and go the other way, it doesn't work. Like just moving and not, it just doesn't. It doesn't work. So for me, that does work. That's a great formula. Even though the fall was devastating, and I felt like, at that moment, again, not having the life experience to know that, no, this is just the beginning. I needed something dramatic to break me wide open, to release the vision of being the star in front of the camera. That moment actually was a big blessing in the end, because now I actually am able to, if I wanted to be someone's manager, I will be a hell of a manager, because I can talent spot very quickly who's got it, who doesn't, and actually be able to train them to be in front of the camera. And that comes from my discipline as a dancer, my focus, knowing how to begin something from beginning to end, the presentation, my acting classes. I'm great with improv, in front of the camera, scripted. I can do it all. So it just didn't happen for me in front of the camera. But when I am working with talent or having to do a presentation, I have to grab back for all that different training. And so it all makes sense now, even though I couldn't see it back then.
Thinking about where you are now and helping, let's just talk about just this one aspect first about, faces and what, how you present, present on camera, because, oh, by the way, I have a question too to ask you. It'll be a little bit about why certain people, especially men, don't always have the right lipstick color on when they're on camera. Like, I don't know who's seeing this. Why is it not being cut? But, the people that are watching this conference, these interviews are either, people who are experienced in front of the camera to some extent, but want more opportunity, or they're just getting started. But, today you're doing more things remotely. If you're being interviewed, you're doing things where you're responsible for how you look and pull together. What kind of advice do you give to people to, especially if they have to do it themselves, to show up the best they can, with this going on. Because
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
already looking at myself going, I can tell that, I don't have enough blush on. I don't know.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I've been preaching this actually just before COVID hit, to take advantage of these online courses and seminars, if you will. And in particular, in answering your question, an online private one-on-one makeup lesson. And
Oh.
for the men, that would be a basic grooming lesson. I
Mhm.
think that's imperative for anyone that's going on camera, because there may be a point, and it does happen, maybe not often, but it can happen, where someone may not show up, they may oversleep, they may be running late, or they're just sick and they can't get to the studio to get to you. And what happens in those pinches where you still have to get on, present, but for this particular day, the artist did not arrive. Your groomer, if you're a male, and your makeup artist, if you're a female, didn't show up, and you have to do it for yourself in a pinch. I feel that all women need to know what it is a basic, like 5-minute face, something that can just look polished, look clean, look as if a professional did it, and can work with all outfits. It doesn't matter what it is, but it's just something that works for you. And for the men, for them to just know a basic face where the facial hairs are groomed, the lips look even, the skin looks like clean and dewy and glowy. There are certain tricks that can get you through. It may not be the most perfect thing, but it is the thing that can get you through to look put together online now, or for the camera, film.
Mhm.
And especially if you are presenting, I don't think it really matters if you are a celebrity or a person just stepping in to your career. You should know something basic just to pull you through, I think.
Absolutely. I never even thought about that, having a kind of a one-on-one consultation, because especially if you're doing a lot of things on online or, remotely, to have somebody look at you in that remote setup to say, okay, let me show you what's coming through. Because Eddie and I are always laughing because if he comes on, I'm always doing this. No matter what I do, I can't get rid of all the shine. I haven't figured out the solution to this, but having somebody say, okay, here's what I would suggest to you, add a different product, use a different color foundation, something
Yes.
that will give you some of those keys from somebody who's looking at it specifically through the camera lens.
Yeah, and I find also with that, it can be a little tricky on who you go to as well. It really should be someone who's seasoned, who's done
Mhm.
it for a while, because makeup for photography is different for a film, is different for television. They are,
Yeah.
with the lighting and the color choices. So it would be wise if the choice would be made to go to someone that is seasoned and has done it for a while, and it is what they do. It's not their hobby, but it is what they do for their profession, to give advice and to teach how to do it.
So, Andrea, you're seasoned and you're professional. So, do you do the one-on-ones also with people?
I do. I do. And I actually enjoy it because I realize that that's my other gift, is to teach.
Sure.
And so whenever I do a private lesson, or if I do a big Zoom group makeup lesson, I always leave it feeling fulfilled, and I feel like, wow, like I really made a difference in their lives, because the way I teach is not for them to continually have to repeat to come back. I try to nail it the first time and teach them timeless tips that can get them through basically any situation. And luckily, in the follow up, it's been really good. Over the years, the follow-ups have been like, wow, you helped to elevate my skills. I feel confident now. I look so much more polished on my online presentations, or my in-person um, presentations. And that makes me feel good, and it makes me feel like I'm using another talent to help uplift the masses. So that's a good thing.
So, what if the people right now that are watching this seminar and watching your video are like you, where you wanted to be on camera, but then there was an injury and then you went this way? So what if anybody wants to pursue a makeup career? What are the steps that could help them? I mean, I have a daughter, 19, who's in California, who wants to be an actress. So she's going to some drama classes, but she always said, Dad, if it doesn't work out, I'm going to go to beauty school because I'm really good with hair, and I'm going to learn hair, and then, you know, I could do that. So
Right.
any steps or advice?
Yeah. Well, you know, the first thing, is it Grace?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I used to think like that, like, well, what if it doesn't work out? I kind of have like a plan B. And I'm like, you know what? To hell with all that. Like, just do both. Like, it would be great if she did get her license regardless, because you never know if she were in a pinch on set that she could, you just never know.
Right.
That's
Okay.
true.
Good advice.
But my advice to someone just starting off is to sit first with yourself and really make a decision in the sense of understanding why you want to enter the beauty industry, because the beauty industry, outside of social media, which really glamorizes it, as if it's this thing where you're like running around with celebrities and you're like all over the place with them, it is a profession of service. It's where
Mhm.
you're constantly serving others, whether it's makeup, hair, nails, massage therapy. It's always where you're having to put someone else's needs before your own,
Yeah.
and being fine with that and feeling like, wow, I'm really doing a good thing. So I think the first step before entering into it is to really have a soul searching moment or period where you make an honest decision of why you want to enter it. And if it is because serving others in that way makes you feel good, uplifting others through your talent, makes you feel good, then those are the reasons that you should step into it. And then if you decide to do that, I think the next thing is to get proper training, because it's one thing to practice on yourself and your friends, which you should always do, because that's usually how it starts. Like, family and friends see a talent within you, and then they're asking you, oh, could you do my face for this wedding, or could you, I have a date, can you get me ready? And that's fine, and you should always continue to do that. But there's certain basic fundamentals that you need to know as an artist, that you can only get that from an accredited school or from a professional that actually is a teacher, an instructor, and take it seriously, not just kind of dip in and dip out when you feel like it. If you're on the journey, you're on it. So if there's a course that's for a number of weeks, start it, do your best, and finish it. And then after that, understanding that um, makeup for me isn't something that kind of gets turned on and turned off. It's and I didn't realize that it would encompass my life the way that it has. It's just that I've added more balance to it, meaning um the phone could constantly ring all the time with everyone always wanting something from me. Oh, can you get me ready for this and ready for that? And I think it's imperative as an artist to know where you fall within that. How much can you give? And how much do you need to save for yourself? And I wish someone taught me that earlier on in my career, because there was a point when I said yes to everyone. And I was literally working a minimum 16-hour days, pushing 18 hours. And that was 7 days a week, because I did not know how to say no. And I wish that someone was there to guide me to say, listen, Andrea, you need to understand how to balance your life, where you take this amount of time to sleep, this amount of time for family and friends. And then the rest of it, if you still enjoy it, serving,
Mhm.
then you can have this amount of time from this time to that time in a day to provide your services. So I think that all of that in a nutshell is would be my advice to someone starting their journey to get into it. Yeah, and I was game facing a lot because, again, from dance, you know, work through pain, and you're on those point shoes and your feet are being torn up, but you have to have a smile on your face. I still remember that too. And so
Yeah.
that's not always the best thing, where you can game face and act like everything is okay, where you're breaking inside, but you're giving your best. It's difficult. So that's also a part of the training as well, is knowing how to be honest with, you know what, I need a rest right now, and having faith that the phone or your cell phone will continue to ring for you to get
Mhm.
work.
Well,
Yeah.
when I asked you to do this, you said yes immediately. So thank you.
And that was truthful, Eddie, because I love you so much. So, you know that was happening.
That's
And,
what everybody keeps saying. They're like, Eddie asked, we say yes.
Oh, yes.
so I have something that I want to ask you, and a lot of people ask me this question, but I want to ask you. So a lot of people say when you meet celebrities or you meet different people, how are they and this and that? I say, well, look, as a stage manager, I get them when they come to the set. So they're all hair, they're made up, they're all ready to go, they're mic'd, and so their persona is happy and they're ready to go. I always say, if you really want to ask, you want to ask the drivers or the hair and makeup people because they
Yeah.
get them kind of, right out. So
Mhm.
without mentioning any names, but
Mhm.
and it doesn't even have to be celebrities, but even people that are like, authors or just starting out, or maybe they were an eyewitness to something, they're in the news and they're scared. Because you have a beautiful personality and I've known you for years.
Thank
So,
you.
what are some things you do to relax people, to get them comfort before they come to the set?
Um, what I think I do automatically, this has just kind of always been my thing, is when I greet them, I don't know, I think I have a way about me that makes them feel as if they're the only one that
Mm,
I've ever really worked on, because I never discuss anyone else with them. I just make it all about them,
nice.
just to create kind of like and I don't do it on purpose. It's just, I guess it's just my way. Just to create this kind of safe space for them to feel like, okay, you can spill and it's okay, and I'm not going to run my mouth and tell anyone anything. And surprisingly, they do talk a lot just to get whatever stress out, or whatever is bothering them or hurting them in that moment. They'll thank me and then they'll go on. And I guess you get a reputation as well within the industry that, so and so won't speak. And I've been in front of some big celebrities that their person maybe that didn't know me, most likely a publicist or a manager, that would have something really private to say to them, but because we're on the clock and we can't really stop to get them ready. And I could see the exchange, like, okay, the person wants me to leave the room, but the celebrity is not allowing me to leave. And they're like, no, if it's that you want Andrea to leave, she's not leaving. Whatever you want to say, you need to say in front of her. And they're like, are you certain?
Wow.
Like, I'm about to tell you something that is like career breaking. And they're like, she won't say anything.
Wow.
Say it.
Wow.
And so in those moments, I'm like, wow, they really know. Like, I'm so honored for that.
Yeah.
But, at the same time, it's like I'm a powder keg. Like, I know so much. It's like sometimes I feel like my head could pop off.
Oh, man.
It's so much over
Oh,
all these years, right?
oh,
Of knowing like secrets. I mean, like I said, I'm honored, but it's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot. But they're in a vulnerable space, and I just feel like, wow, if this moment allows them to release and focus and center so that they can deliver, just let them do what they have to do, say what they have to say, and let them move on. And so that's what it's been.
wow.
Yeah, so do you have any like really great tips that we should pay attention to? For instance, let's just take women, for instance. Is there something about, a really great tip on, your foundation, or is, one kind of, not necessarily one type like brand foundation, but, do you say, hey, never use a powder-based foundation, only use a cream one, or anything that any of us can, little tidbits we can take away to be a little bit more professional looking?
Well, I think the tip that I'd like to share is actually a unisex one, which is I think it's really important for all talent to understand what their skin type is first. Because
Hmm.
once you understand what your skin type is, then you're able to then decipher which products are best for your skin. Because most times, even though this is like the season and it has been for a few years with like, this highlighter on the skin to create this glow and, you know, all of that, it's not really for every skin type to do that, although it's the trend and it has been for quite some time, and I don't really see it leaving for a minute. Um, there are ways to achieve it, but it has to be right for your skin type first.
Yeah.
And then you can start to get the products to be able to create the look so that you look like you are on trend. But for me, when I work, I like to create timeless looks. So it doesn't seem like, oh, okay, I can tell that was from like the 90s. That was from, no. Like when I do something, and especially like for brides and, like big celebrities, when I look back at the work, I really can't tell what year it was because it still looks like my hand today.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like to do timeless work, but I think knowing your skin type is really the very first thing to be able to choose the products that work best for your skin. And that goes both ways for the men and women.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, and I was thinking, I mean, I don't follow any trends, so I'm probably never on trend, but it made me think about right before the yeah, well, my hair is my own thing. But right before the pandemic, the trend with eyebrows, at least for women, were, what did they call them? Like the boyfriend eyebrows or something that they were, I can't remember. That's not the right term, but they were, thicker and they were a little bigger. And I was like, I can't get my eyebrows to do that.
And you don't want to. Only because, I mean, it was cute for the moment, but really, that kind of look is best for like runway, like when you're at a distance and they
Yeah.
need to see it on the jumbotron. And for uh let's say like the 18, 19 to 25-year-old that's got this little baby face that has no life experience yet, looks like they just rolled up out of bed and is like dewy fresh, that kind of face. It's not us that have lived and have our line, right? From our creativity and worrying and our warrior line. It's not that. So it's just a trend that, it'll come and go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Now, I see some reporters, like they'll come right out of the car and they have to be on in 5-10 minutes. So they'll have their own little powder and they just kind of powder and stuff. But I
Mhm.
see you when you're working and you're doing touch-ups and you have more like a brush and you do it a brush. So is there a difference for anybody watching here to use the brush
Yes.
or the other thing, whatever
Yes.
compressor?
So when you see any correspondent just getting out of the car and doing like a quick touch up on themselves, that sponge that they're using is just for them. It's just this one thing that they'll probably just continue to put back into that compact, and when needed, they'll pull it out in a pinch. Someone like me, I like to my wheelhouse is all these brushes that can be used on anyone at any time. So when you see me, Eddie, on set and you see me brushing down, that one brush is for that one person for hygienic purposes. But also, I find that the brush gives me so much more control
Yeah.
with the blending because I like to look in the camera and on the monitor and see like this flawless skin that's not packed down with makeup. I like the skin to show through. So it looks like, wow, that person has gorgeous skin, even if the skin has like acne marks on it or, has, is prone to like a lot of wrinkles, or the person is extremely fatigued, like under the eyes, which is almost every single person, just like a lot of darkness on the eyes, puffiness, just to like reduce it in a way where it just looks healthy and radiant, whether it's male or female. So for me, the brush is the thing that gives me the control to execute.
Talking about the puffy eyes, I've seen a couple of women correspondents come in at 5 o'clock. They have
Mhm.
almost like two plastic things they
Yes.
wear like for an hour or so. What does that do? Explain that.
Yeah. So that is an under eye gel, and it's unisex. It's a unisex product. Male and female can wear it. And it has like kind of like a slip to it. And the slip is fused with substances that help to reduce puffiness under the eye. It gives it kind of like a softness. So instead of you like going underneath the eye, the orbital bone is right in here, this whole area. Instead of manually like pressing down to try to release the fluid, it's just this kind of cool substance. Most times we have it in the freezer or the fridge
Uh,
just to get it really cold You put it on while you're working, and then by the time you start to work under the eye area, you can take it off, and then the area is hydrated. The puff has been released, all that water retention under there, and the darkness has started to flush down to become skin tone
Nice.
again. So
And they
that's
feel wonderful.
thing.
You've used
Yeah.
it too?
Yeah, they feel great on your eyes.
Yeah, it's
So when
really
you're tired, just
relaxing.
yeah.
Mhm.
What do you notice if you see somebody on camera and you haven't done their makeup? What things jump out at you and think, "Oh, I wish somebody would have told them to do this or not do that?"
Yeah. Um, well, I try not to judge others' work too much. I just kind of like look at it like, oh well, if it were me, what would I have done, differently? And a lot of times what I notice is I'm looking for balance. I'm
Mhm.
looking for a balance where nothing is too jarring in the sense of, let's say, like the hair isn't like super polished and then the face looks like they kind of look like they just didn't, have any type of effort at all. It's like, or the face is really done up and the hair is really a mess. Like there
Mhm.
has to be some type of balance between the two where it looks like both have the same effort. Um, Given, even if it's not done by a professional, it at least has to have some type of seamlessness to it.
Mhm.
I think what is a big mistake is, and I hate to say this again, and I don't want it to sound like I'm getting down too much on like the YouTubers, but I talk to my colleagues about this all the time. It's kind of like the misleading looks that they teach on YouTube. I think can get a person in trouble if they go in and like the brows is so like heavy. It kind of looks like kind of drag queenish, like like really
Mhm.
drawn on, and you have like all this highlighter, but then you have like this really, kind of undone hair style. It just doesn't make sense, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. So it's like my tip would be to not go overboard too much in one area. If anything, if you're going to appear on camera, it's got to be overall, meaning the hairstyle has to be, even if you weren't able to get like a haircut, at least have it. My hair isn't really the best right now, but at least I was able to, like, I think, try to get the curls to look a little more uniform. I don't Eddie sees me all the time. I never wear makeup, Michael. I'm not the makeup artist that comes in beat ever. I come in raw dog, rolled out of bed like everyone else. Right? But I knew that I had to have some type of oomph about me right now, especially speaking about makeup. So I just did like a quick, it was like a 3-minute face. It was just really quick,
Mhm.
strategically knowing how to place those products on, a shirt that, okay, this is like a chocolate shirt right now. You know what I mean? My neck isn't the greatest. I have lines, but okay, so I'll cover them up. You have to know like your body, what colors work well, what will
Mhm.
work well for your body type. I'm not coming with my cleavage hanging out, you know, it's not appropriate. So you have to know your color wheelhouse, what the audience, what is your audience? Because
Mhm.
sometimes a person can be inappropriately dressed if it's like a teen audience and they're coming in with a plunging neckline. It's just not, so you have to do your research. It does require a bit of time. I thought about this like 2 days ago. Why? Because I wanted to be prepared for you.
Mhm.
It's just like anything else. We don't just turn around, grab an outfit, and get on. Some people do, but I don't, because it means something to me to be able to present to your audience so that it makes sense.
Yeah.
So it does take a bit of time and a bit of homework, but I think in the end, it's worth it.
Yeah. And by the way, I love your earrings because they just go with the whole
Thank you.
thing.
Thank you. And I thought about it.
I know. I bet you did. Well, I think this is fantastic. This is really great information, not only about what we can do, what we should pay attention to, how important it is to pay attention to it, but also to learn about, how you, got on this path. I think the joy of what you found, but your entrepreneurial journey is also really, really impressive. And I think it's a fun element that I didn't expect until I started learning more about you. And I'm really glad that we got to know more about it.
Thank you. And understand the last part of my journey of becoming an inventor, actually became a patented inventor 5 times over. that's because the angels were working, and it was just something that made sense. But my colleague that you're about to interview, Greg Janello, was the one that put his foot in my back to sit down, and he said, "You've done all this work, why don't you just do it?" And that was to initially create a concept. It was a concept of, how do I teach my clients to create my celebrity based looks when I'm not there? Because they can't fly me everywhere. How could they do that? And that started about 10 years ago, where I would sit down with these drawings and just draw out all these different looks and match them with a brush. So you take the brush with the red dot, the yellow brush. So
Wow.
it's just like this color coded system that shows the everyday person how to create the celebrity looks. And again, it's just listening to the universe, doing what makes sense. And so it ended up deeming me as an inventor. It's crazy, but it makes sense and it's within the wheelhouse. So hopefully that will inspire your audience to just, you never know what the path is.
Amen.
You just got to do it.
So true. Excellent.